Okay, here we go. Our orbit cut. So I'll just comb the hair out smooth after the shampoo. Just get a feel for the texture. Now I'll section out both sides. And then from the occipital bone, from ear to ear, I'll start cutting my graduated shape. So I begin on the right side. I'm combing the hair out and I'm cutting in a shape that goes from longer to shorter. My next diagonal section is over directed to 100% at that same point. Here, I'll be building my weight via over direction and graduation. So every section on the right side is over directed to the exact same point that guideline was cut at. So again, we're building weight through over direction, and the end result will have a very heavy corner that sits right in the center where the occipital bone lies. Just comb the hair to natural fall, make assessments, take your next diagonal section, and notice how my section runs into the opposite side, which is fine. And again, we're over directing every single section to the exact same point to be cut. So again, we're building up our weight. And make sure that you're combing the hair from roots to your guideline super clean. You want those strands of hair that you comb to be as clean and parallel to the teeth of your comb. And when you're over directing, you have to ensure that over direction is consistent. This is really, really important. So once I finish off the left side, I'll just go back and just clean up those little fuzzy hairs. Just working with the tips of my shears, just doing some detail work here. Okay, so now we'll jump onto the left side. Here we go. Pressure's on. Same elevation, same over direction, exact same angle. This is imperative. So if you have any doubts, go longer than shorter. And you can just cross-check and check for symmetry and balance until you get it right. There's no point to rush this portion because we need that symmetry and balance is absolutely essential. Now, as I cut this left side, my elbows high, fingers low, my fingers are actually aiming towards that opposite shoulder. So that's like a landmark that I use when I'm working with graduation through the left side. And my body position is just behind her shoulder. So you're gonna set in your comb, let your comb determine that angle, and as you comb the hair, just have your fingers follow that comb. So again, set in your comb, fingers follow your comb to your guideline, and then as you reach your guideline, then release the comb and then just hold the hair with your fingers. When I cut, I really prefer using my comb to set my angles as opposed to my fingers. When I use my fingers, they have a tendency to, do finger stuff, to move around, to bend. My comb will never bend, so I much prefer setting in my shape with my comb. So notice with this technique, we're building a lot of weight through the center, which is fine and it's intentional because after this cut, I'll be perming her hair super, 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 beyond super curly, and the end result's really awesome. So you can check out the perm technique. I think it's called Yolande Super Curl. So now we're blending both sides so that weight that I just cut off there, that's telling me that both sides are actually symmetrical, because when we're cutting, when two major sections meet, we'll get that corner. And as I cut the right side, my sections ran into the left side. So now they're intersecting. So we'll go back, clean up the shape. Rather clean up the shape right away as opposed to later, because I don't like, when I'm cutting, I like, in my view, in my environment, I like everything to be perfect and beautiful. So I can leave that hairline out, but I might as well just clean it up now. So when I go back and clean it up later, it'll be that much stronger. Okay, so now at that occipital bone level to the crown, I'm cutting in a really steep graduate angle, about 80 degrees graduation. So it's borderline layering. So I remove a lot of weight, and this is in anticipation to have that really tight curl set in. So the next portion is from the occipital bone to the crown. Okay, here, make sure with each section you have a piece of your guideline through the left, and you also have a piece of the guideline from the occipital bone to that nape. So this way you're ensuring yourself that your shape is technically connecting because when the shape doesn't connect, you're really going to lose like pretty much all of your movement. So this is essential. Just make sure with each progressive section you have a guideline to the side and a guideline through that occipital bone below area. Again, make sure that you're combing that hair super clean. You want the strands of hair that you comb to be parallel to the teeth of your comb. If there are any snags in that line, go back and comb it again, because if there's a lot of snags in the strands of hair that you comb and you actually cut the hair, if you go back and comb out that same section, you'll find lengths that go beyond your guideline. So first things first, make sure you're always combing the hair super clean. Okay, with this last portion, we're checking in the length through that bottom. And now we can see our graduation is really clear. The angle changes slightly because I'm following the head shape from high to low. Okay, so the left side is cut in the exact same manner. So I'll work off my guideline from the right. Remember, I'm always connecting that length that sits at the occipital bone. So I'll take my next section. And again, this next section, you're just combing the hair straight out. Make sure you comb the hair from roots to ends, perfectly clean. Set your comb to the actual angle you intend to cut. So that way, as you comb the hair from roots to your guideline, you can visually assess whether or not you've combed the hair properly. Because again, combing the hair is as difficult as cutting that hair. And if you comb it and you over direct off, your shape is you're just blowing your shape. So getting connecting to the back, and then working from high to low. So it's the same amount of graduation, and again we're connecting our shape through the base. Comb the hair to natural fall. And I have this habit of, after I hit a section, I just like combing it to natural fall, and I can visually make assessments. If I see something at natural fall that like pops out or kicks forward or kicks backward, that's telling me that there's an error in that section, and I had to go back immediately and clean it up. Because if everything connects, then everything should fall naturally. The hair should fall very straight. So now moving to the left side, I'll section out from the parietal area down. I'll come out a slightly curved section. I'm over directing forward, and I'm cutting in, again, a graduated line that goes from short to longer. Make sure you're combing the hair super clean. As you approach this portion to the left side, make sure your elbows up, fingers down. And with each section, I'm elevating just a little bit higher. And my intention is to connect with that angle in the back. So right now you're kind of seeing a little bit of that guideline into there. So that's why I anticipate to start connecting. And make sure here that you're cutting like really clean lines. I wouldn't recommend texturizing or point cutting this technique, especially if you're going to go and perm the hair, because then once it's textured and it's permed really tight, then it's over textured. So just really clean, sleek lines. Standing in front of what you're cutting. So my body position here is about between her ear and her nose. And again, the intention through the side is to incorporate the back without any heavy corners. So I'll start taking down weight, taking down heaviness, and these are the corners where everything connects. Okay, so now blending the sides into the back. So long as you're seeing a really super clear guideline and your sections are connecting, you should, like, with every section, start to, like, internally, like, you're building up confidence because visually you know everything you're doing is proper, and you can rock out haircuts even that much better when you approach it from a confident level, a high confidence. Okay, so for the opposite side, the right side, over directing forward, cutting in my graduated shape, combing the hair super clean from roots to ends. Remember, each section will elevate the hair just slightly with the anticipation of connecting the shape through the back. As you're cutting and you really understand your shape, it's always best to anticipate. I don't like to react. When you react, you're going to make a mistake. So when you anticipate what's coming next, or like for here, through the sides, my anticipation is I'll gradually start incorporating the lengths to the back. I have a stronger mind map, so my margin of error will be greatly diminished because I'm thinking. For me, cutting hair is like playing chess. It's a thinking game. We're physically and mechanically taking down hair, but actually the entire shape, once you get your head around all that geometry that we're actually creating with our haircuts, is pretty awesome. Still over directing slightly forward, cutting in our graduated shape, still combing the hair super clean from roots to ends. To this side, fingers forward, elbows down just slightly, and here we're starting to incorporate our lengths to the back. So we'll be knocking down like that heavy corner, which is fine, because the shape, once it's permed, it'll be like really gigantic, round, and orbital. So now the top, I'm taking a curved section. So in this section, I have a bit of a guideline from the back, guideline from the side. So again, everything's connecting. And notice these lengths, they're quite long through the top, which is intentional because you have to anticipate I will be perming her hair super tight. So the longer lengths that we're building through the top won't be as long once I finish the perm. Because when you have a straight 0-degree line or an S shape, like permed hair is an S shape, right? You lose length from A to B unless you like stretch it. So that's, again, we have to always make sure that the technical haircut always fits the chemical process. And you have to anticipate this, because if I made everything connect and I didn't cut as strong of an angle through the top, that area, once it's permed, will be way too short. So you have to like try and play like 3D, 5D, 6D chess. Try and think like 1, 2, 3, 4 steps ahead of the game, and then everything works a lot smoother. And when you're thinking slightly ahead of the game, you'll find a lot more creative inspiration. Okay, so through the opposite side, the left side, same technique. Diagonal section. Take my guide from the back and I'm connecting the sides, putting a really strong acute angle in here. Acute angle is graduation, same thing. And I'm just combing the hair like clean, straight out. And just let that comb take you to your guideline. Try not to use your fingers too much because it'll throw you off. I much prefer following the shape of my comb, because my comb will never deviate shape as I push the hair from roots to ends. My fingers will. They do it all the time. So I much prefer my comb. Okay, so now for the finish, I'll be diffusing the hair. I use a lot of mousse, like seriously a lot of mousse, a lot of oils, a bit of gel, and a tiny bit of cream, just to give it that texture. And that concoction, it'll keep everything shiny, it'll keep that curl together, because this is after it's been permed. And then as you're diffusing the hair, you have to understand that curly hair has certain properties that you need to appreciate. When you over dry curly hair, it will go frizzy. Like seriously, like frizzy doesn't look luxurious, it doesn't look expensive. When you're aiming for a 5-star finish with a diffuse, I go in and I'll put emphasis at that root area first. And then once I feel that the root area is pretty much getting dry, then I'll like focus on the ends. If I just focus on the ends because it's more convenient to dry the ends, the root area is still too moist. And then you have to understand, like, under the roots, above the roots are the lengths through the ends, and it's curly and it's fuzzy and it takes a big mass. So the heat, it's harder for the heat from the diffuser to actually hit those roots. It's easier to hit the ends. So try and go in and hit the roots first, and then once the roots are like, you remove a decent amount of moisture, then you can start to diffuse them together. Okay, so we're almost there with the diffuse. And once the hair is dry, yeah, we want to dry to like 100% dry. You don't want it to be like soaking wet. So make it dry. And now that it's dry, then I can go visually, and I'll start texturizing the hair. I look at my shape from multiple angles, and I'm going in there. I'm just slide cutting, cleaning out the area around the fringe, point cutting, slide cutting, and just work that shape until it aesthetically fits your overall intention. Now see that geometry? Remember that corner that we built from the over direction? Now you really see it kicking into play. So now you see, like, intention is very, very, very important. Going in and I'm just cleaning up like a V shape through the back, so it'll stand out really strong. Cleaning up the opposite side. Okay, well, there you have it. Our Yolanda orbit cut on super, super curly hair. Enjoy.